Hear ye, personally decreed from Queen Charlotte herself. Bridgerton Season 3 Part 2 has dropped on Netflix, and it dropped actually yesterday, June 13th. And man, this season has fallen flat for a lot of people. Many say that it has lost its Victorian charm and what made it truly special. And while I see where they're coming from, this change could be attributed to Jess Bronell taking over as showrunner in season 3. And while the changes, which are mostly visual with hair and makeup and the dress, so these changes have taken some viewers completely out of the Bridgerton experience and the Bridgerton magic. In comparison to Queen Charlotte, which was headed up and showrun by Shonda Rhimes herself, I can certainly see where people are coming from. However, I quite enjoy season 3 as a whole, and season 3 part 2 especially, because I, for one, like mess, and this season was especially messy with Penelope's and Colin's will they won't they, Cressida's shocking reveal, and Benedict's by panic. As always, please leave a like, comment, and smash that subscribe button as it helps my channel grow, as you know, I'm a smaller YouTuber. So without further ado, let's get into my review right now. So everyone, this season of Bridgerton, like I said, has been especially messy, and we can't talk about Bridgerton with this season especially, without talking about my girl, Penelope Featherington. Now, you know, or Penelope Bridgerton, as she's known by the end of this season. She's also known as Lady Whistledown, and by the end of the season, spoiler alert, because this is a spoiler review, the ton knows her as Lady Whistledown. And so the messiness, I feel like, with Penelope in her situation definitely stems from her concealing her identity as Lady Whistledown. And this all comes to a head this season with her being chosen by Colin, being dropped by Colin, Eloise being all up in her business and her number one hater, the Queen putting a 5,000 pound bounty on her head, and it just feels as though the road has run out for our girl Penelope and her alter ego, Lady Whistledown. You know, and she puts, she says, hey, at the end of the season, hey, I'm going to put down Lady Whistledown, but she doesn't realize that Lady Whistledown is a key part of her expression and who she is. And I say, that is a beautiful sentiment for her to have, because, women in that society didn't have much options in terms of what they could achieve and what they could go for. Penelope Featherington's mother herself says, I was hoping to achieve my own dreams and aspirations through a man. And Penelope, at that central point when she was talking to Colin about his manuscripts and travel diaries, she's like, oh, well, maybe I can edit and still enjoy the love of writing. But Colin was like, no, I just want to do this on my own. And Penelope then realized that only she can be the harborer of her dreams, and it is only through her that she can truly achieve those. So, not wanting to back down from Lady Whistledown at all. And we see that reach, I would say, an interesting conclusion for the story. We see the Queen put a $5,000 bounty out on my girl Penelope's head. And I'm thinking, oh, she wants to know her identity because she's going to kill her. She's going to behead her. It's going to be over with, finished, done, kaput. But our girl, Queen Charlotte, is smarter than that, because she realizes, why kill this woman when I'm just having the best fun going back and forth, tit for tat, calculating moves like when you're on a chessboard. And what helped her get to that realization was my girl, Lady Danbury, who we all know really had a suspicion about who Penelope actually was, Lady Whistledown. Because at first we all thought Lady Danbury was Lady Whistledown, but, during that first season, it was like, nah, there's no way it's Lady Danbury. And then it was confirmed that it was Penelope, and then we held the secret. Everybody else didn't know the secret. And so so Penelope's Lady Whistledown story came in conflict with her man Colin. Colin was so heated about Lady Whistledown all season. I thought the man was gonna have an aneurysm about it. And when he finds out that it's Penelope, he's like, dang, I can't do anything about this because truth be told, I love this woman. I love her with all my heart and I've known her my whole life. But I just can't accept her continuing to be Miss Messy Boots. And I feel for Colin because you don't want your wife continuing to be Miss Messy Boots, writing a bunch of gossip. That's like, that's like trying to marry the leader of the Shade Room. It's like, okay, you always in everybody else's business. Do you ever truly have time to handle your own affairs? Like Penelope was so worried writing Lady Whistledown that she ain't had time to find no man because she was looking in everybody else's stuff. So at that point, Colin was like, look, you gotta come on now, Lady Whistledown. This thing ain't doing what it's supposed to be doing. But Penelope is like, no, look, it's a part of my identity, my guy. And so this whole Lady Whistledown drama not only gets Colin into a frenzy, but it gets Penelope's number 2 hater. It was number 1 until Eloise took that spot, but Penelope's number 2 hater, Cressida Cowper, gets involved in the Lady Whistledown drama. Cressida, like I said in my first Bridgerton video, that she can't find no man and she need to worry about not bullying people and trying working on finding a man. But she can't find no man because guess why? She got that nasty spirit on her, and that's why she can't find no man. Still can't to this day. And so Cressida is about to be married off to an old man who told her she can't wear her fashions. He want kids. He want four babies. Cressida said, oh my God, the road has run out. And so when the queen places a $5,000 bounty on Lady Whistledown, Cressida's like, look, I might try to get up out here. I might try to bounce. And so she sees Lady Whistledown and maybe the reward money as her way out. So during their engagement party, which that's like kind of crazy. Like, first of all, she won't even invite it. Like, why would you be invited to the engagement party of you're like her biggest hater? Like, you would be nowhere near my engagement party. Like, that don't even make no sense. But she was there. Cressida Cowper was there. And so at the engagement party, Cressida Cowper steps up and she says, I'm Lady Whistledown. But everybody's like, Cressida? Not only is she a mean girl, she's not that bright. Shorty girl is not bright at all. And while at certain moments I was rooting for Cressida, she ultimately went back to the number one thing that I wish she could have grown from, which is being a mean girl. She learned nothing from her time in the ton and being with Eloise and being her friend. She learned absolutely nothing from her humbling experience that she can't find no man. Don't nobody want her? People rather mess with the Featheringtons than mess with Cressida Cowper. And so she assumes the identity of Lady Whistledown. My girl Penn is distraught by this news, but she does it anyway, and she turns herself into the queen and says, look, I'm Lady Whistledown. Give me my money. I need my money now. And the queen's like, you're Lady Whistledown. Are you sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that? And the queen like, look, if you want me to actually believe that you Lady Whistledown, you gonna have to write you a column, and the column gonna have to be so good and so off the bone juicy that I just can't refute that you was Lady Whistledown. And now at this point, Cressida is shaking in her boots because shawty girl can't write. She don't got no skills. Mind you, at this time in society, all the women in the high society, they weren't really allowed to be really formally educated, like at schools and all that. And so they typically would have like a talent, playing piano. Their mothers would somewhat teach them how to be homemakers, but not really. They wouldn't even talk about SMEX, SCX. They wouldn't talk about that at all. So, like, what did the mothers do? I don't know what they did. They didn't prepare these girls for marriage. They just told them to get married. They didn't give them no skills to be a wife. None of that. They gave them nothing actually useful. But anyway, I digress. And so Cressida, she wasn't that bright. She ain't had no skills. She ain't had no talents. And so she's sitting there trying to write. And her mama was her downfall. Ultimately, at the end of the day, Cressida mama, she tried to help her the best way she could. But that's where Cressida get it from, that nasty spirit. It come off her mama. But, and so Cressida is having a hard time writing. But Cressida figures out a way how to publish a Lady Whistledown. And she walks into a ball. It was, whose ball was it? It was the black couple that's rich now. She walks up in their ball with a red dress on. I said, okay, villain. She's embracing her villain era. I was like, okay. She was a social pariah at that time because she claimed to be Lady Whistledown. And so, I was kind of rooting for her in that moment of her social outcast. But then she was like, yeah, I'll own it. I was like, okay, at least if you take it up, you might as well own it, right? So she finds a way to print a Lady Whistledown. Her Lady Whistledown is just the nastiest thing you could ever imagine. She said some of the nastiest stuff about the Bridgertons. She said, oh, have you ever wondered why there's so many Bridgerton kids? They don't even got the same daddy. Penelope would never, Lady Whistledown that we know and love, would never go that hard on somebody. And Penelope was like, this girl done went too far. Now they talking about my family now. Penelope went up in the paint and she decided that she was going to publish another Lady Whistledown to clear her name. And then that one she said, Cressida Cowper don't even got 2 pennies to scribble together to make any type of sound or music. What makes you think she would have the ability to be Lady Whistledown? And then, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at her for coming out the shadows and for fear of retribution of the queen. But she had to get Cressida together. And so, because Cressida decided to come out as Lady Whistledown and she failed as Lady Whistledown, she was exiled from society. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Cressida Cowper was exiled from society. And so, she's been sent away to the countryside. I don't know if she actually went to the countryside, because after I saw Penelope's baby, I cut it off. And I was like, oh my gosh, happy ending. Wonderful. I just cut it off, y'all. I was like, yeah, that's all I need to know. And so she just got what she got. She was a mean girl, messy boots. She got what she deserved. Poor Cressida Cowper. But nobody feels sorry for her. But anyway, moving on. This story was about Penelope, Colin. It had its moments for Cressida, but this season was largely about my girl Francesca. Francesca in the Sterlings. So, Francesca was a little odd, right? And we all were thinking, this girl is a little off. When she decided to pick the man that she did, we was like, oh, he's odd. And then we saw everything together. And they was like, oh, they're all odd. And so, it was like she kind of got pushed to the back. She kind of got pushed to the back this season. I'm not really mad at that she got pushed to the back. But it is what it is. Her and John Sterling, they got together. They got married in a small wedding, which suits them. And Francesca tells my girl Violet, she says, Mom, now that we're married, we're going to Scotland. And if you don't know anything about British geography, Scotland is like going, if you're like living, let's say in North Carolina and you want to go to Ohio. I feel like that's an accurate spacing, right? And so, they ain't had, planes and trains and stuff. They had boats and whatnot. So Violet's like, oh Lord, they going to Scotland. But Francesca and her autistic boy, Mr. Sterling, they're going to Scotland. And you know who tags along? Eloise. I feel as though Eloise has hit her ceiling in London, and Eloise knows it too. She can't do nothing in London. There's just nothing for her there. She spent how this season being Penelope's number one hater. She ain't got no man either. But as looking the way that Bridgerton's going, it might be a little bit of LGBTQ plus. So, she can find her woman. But, I never really saw that for Eloise. She won't lean in that way. The other Bridgerton, though, and Francesca too, because at the end of this season, we get Michaela Sterling instead of Michael Sterling. Now, in the books, Michael Sterling is the cousin of John Sterling, and something happens to John, and he done for, finished. He can't go on. He can't do nothing for my homegirl Francesca. And then Francesca falls in love, rightfully so, with Michael Sterling in the books, but now it's Michaela Sterling, and they got a sister to play up. And so here we are. We'll see another LGBTQ plus Bridgerton, which is absolutely amazing. Because the first and that one was one that kind of caught me off guard, because there was this line earlier in the season that Violet said she knew that their daddy, Lord Bridgerton, was the one, because she couldn't quite find the words. She was stumbling over her words. Michaela Sterling reveals herself, and Francesca's like, cat got her tongue. She is awestruck. She is into this girl, and she don't know what she feeling. She like, whoa, I ain't never feel like this. I didn't feel like this about John. She ain't feel about that man. She likes her some Michaela Sterling. And so I was like, oh, you got a little action. We'll see what happens with that. They might not follow the books all the way. They might make it more dramatic and have Francesca sneaking off in the night to see Michaela up behind John back, and she gets banished from Scotland. Who knows? Who am I to say? But that is an interesting thing, and it reveals one of two bisexual Bridgertons. Speaking of the bisexual Bridgertons, we have Benedict, ding 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 ding, who is confirmed to be a bisexual at this time. Now, in season 1, I don't know if I was the only one that saw Benedict in that first season and was like, there's no way he is not gay or bisexual, because I was like, oh. And then in this one, he had this whole relationship, not really, this thing with Miss Tilly, right? And when they invited old boy to join him in the art man, I forget the man's name, but he was a patron of the arts, just know that. Which I thought that was Benedict's thing. I thought he was like studying under some painter, and he was like doing this crazy stuff. Am I the only one that remembers that correctly? That might just be me, but hey. And so he got this this sexual relationship with Miss Tilly, right? And so I'm like, okay, he really rocked with Tilly. Like, that's just his thing. And so when Miss Tilly approaches old boy and says, hey, there's a guy right here. Sometimes we be messing around. And she said, you can join. She says my butlers are discreet. And I was like, oh. And old boy Benedict is wrestling with it. Like, I thought he was going to go for it. I thought he was going to be like, oh yeah, no problem. But he looked like he was wrestling with it. I was like, the denial is a river in Egypt. The man is gay. Not gay, but he's bisexual. But I was like, why is he fighting it? He's really fighting it. But then he just succumbed to it. And then he was liking it. And not only that, but they had a threesome, a bisexual threesome, for dang near 3 episodes. I was like, Shonda. But now I know it's not Shonda. I know it's, what's the showrunner's name? Jess. It's like, Jess, why they not doing anything else? They just hunching. They ain't getting to know each other, nothing. They just hunching the whole time, which is fine, which is fine to me. Hey, like what you like. But I'm just saying, I'm like, why we gotta see 3 episodes of it? Hey, we moving forward in time with Penelope and everybody else, but they still hunching. They just taking the clothes off. Penelope done got married, and they doing extracurriculars. But anyway, So they have their little time in the sun, and Miss Tilly catches feelings. Why would she do that? Why would she turn Benedict out? She freaked him out, okay? She freaked him out, and then she says, "Oh, I want to be in a serious situation." And Benedict like, "What you mean?" He's like, "What you mean by that?" He said, "What you mean? You just opened up my world, shawty girl." He said, "You just opened up my world. Like, I want to taste the rainbow, the full extent of the rainbow." And she was like confused. And that confused me because I was like, I thought y'all was casual. What you talking about? You? She said, "But I don't feel like," she was like, "But I don't want to share you." And Benedict was like, "You gonna have to get over that, cause I'm having fun." But Benedict is also old, so it's like you're like the second oldest Bridgerton, and like, don't nobody find it weird that you don't got no girl? Like, you are a spinster, if anything. Like, why are the women given the negative connotation of spinster? Right, they not snatched off the market at the ripe old age of 16. But a man can be in his 30, 40, 50, 60, 70s, and he's still on the marriage market. Sounds like spoiled goods to me because, I mean, like, I guess, money solves everything. And when the city girl said it, it was wrong, get money. But when it's in Bridgerton and got the fancy dresses and the clothes and the old timey and some romance, now getting money is an issue. Well, getting money was the number one issue, especially with them Featherington girls. I won't get too deep into the Featheringtons because this will be an hour video if I talk about the Featheringtons too much, because the mama Portia, it's funny. She's hilarious. I think there's a bag. There's something that could have been explored deeper with Portia and her kids' relationships. The sister was jealous as hell that Penelope was getting all this attention, but Penelope never got attention a day in her life. Like, she was always the girl in the back. Nobody really messed with her like that, and y'all was really acting like she was like bottom of the barrel. And now she got a Bridgerton, and she came up and they got money for real. Now you jealous of a wedding? You could have held out for Bridgerton too, but you couldn't pull him. Exactly. And so we done got all off of the Benedict path. But anyway, Benedict is trying to figure it out. He is a bisexual man in the, believe it's the 1800s, early 1800s, mid 1800s, early in the 1800s, and that it's not a considered normal. But then again, people have been doing stuff for a long periodically time. People have been human forever. There's documented cases of a fun time between men since the early days in the Greco-Roman era. And so, he's gonna figure it out. I think Tilly messing with Tilly could have been a move, but Tilly don't want to share now, so that's problematic. Like, if Tilly was like, "Yeah, I want to be serious. I want the Bridgerton name. I want Bridgerton bread, and like we can all have fun together." Like, that sounds like a deal to me. I mean, in his situation and her situation as well, she's a widow, like in their situation, combined situation together, that works the best. It got the best image for him. They can have a sticky fun time. Everybody discreet and call it a day. Just call it a day, because it ain't even that deep. For real. Like, just let it rock. Let it rock. And so, at the end of the season, Penelope and Colin, they got kids. All the other Featherton girls got kids. Eloise, Francesca, Michaela, not Michael, and John Sterling, they head on right on into the sunset into Scotland. Violet Bridgerton is dating Mr. Anderson. One thing about them Bridgertons, they like a little color. And then, the outlier at this point is Benedict and Colin. And even then, Penelope is a redhead. And so, you know what they say about redhead? Redheads are like the black people of white people, because, it's not a lot of redheads. But, I mean, look at how they treated Prince Harry. They loved all on him and then hated him. You know what I'm saying? It's like they fetishized Harry, and then once Harry stopped being useful or wasn't in his place, they hated on him. I don't write the rules, people. This is history. It's history. It's history. It's there. It's on paper. It's documented. And so, them Bridgertons like some colors. I'm not mad at them though, because I too am a man for the people. But also, so the future of Bridgerton, I think, Eloise and Francesca aren't that interesting. I think the way forward for Bridgerton, obviously they do what they do with the books. Queen Charlotte is probably one of the most popular characters of that whole thing. I want to see Daphne and Simon. I know Reggae left, but it's like, well, so they had basically had to, use Anthony and Kate. But, old boy who played Anthony, he was in Wicked. He got a lot going on, so he can't show up at everything in Reggae. He dropped out so he could do Dungeons and Dragons. Great movie, by the way. Y'all go see. Y'all can stream Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is elite. It's a great movie, fun time. I saw it in theaters. I was like, wow, this is a sleeper. This is a sleeper hit, mad entertaining. If the box office had something like this, if that came out now, it probably would make hella bank, just because of how like dry the cinema feels right now outside of Bad Boys. But we just need to see more Queen Charlotte. I would love to get more into Lady Danbury's story and Lady Bridgerton and see more of them. I think there's the other Bridgerton children have love stories and things to catch up on, and so Bridgerton has a future. So we will see how it goes. Apparently, we have to wait 2 years for a Bridgerton show. Like, they made us wait for 2 parts of the season when it could have been a weekly release. So people will be talking about it every week. And this season definitely would have fit the bill with all the drama with Lady Whistledown. And so we needed a weekly release for this real bad. I hope they consider changing to a weekly release format, just so we can have the conversations and it can trend and it can do well outside of what as Bridgerton. And so this has been my Bridgerton season 3 part 2 review. Make sure you comment, like, and smash that subscribe button, as it helps me grow as a small channel. And this has been another Juju Writes review. Keep it locked.